Some sad news in the world of baseball yesterday as famed Baltimore Orioles third baseman Brooks Robinson has passed away. Brooks Robinson was an icon for the Orioles and most of American League Baseball in the 60s and 70s. Brooks Robinson was born May 18, 1937 in Little Rock, Arkansas. And he would deliver newspapers as a young boy and would play on a semi-pro team playing second base. Brooks Robinson impressed the University of Arkansas enough with a full scholarship, but in basketball, not baseball. However, Baltimore, Cincy, and the New York Giants actually decided to try to sign him to a baseball contract. Robinson did choose to sign with Baltimore because the Orioles had shown the most interest and had opportunities for a young player to be everyday players because of how much they weren't that good. So anyway, Brooks Robinson would make his Major League debut September 1955, going 2 for 4 in a 3-1 win over Washington. He was assigned to Columbia Winter League and would play spring training for a few years. Robinson would be cheering himself on as he would be trying to overtake George Kell as Baltimore's everyday third baseman. Robinson did so well that he went to third base and Kell went to first base. He went to winter ball to develop himself. By 1958, he was getting better and better. He went to the National Guard for a couple years, but by 1960, he started to blossom in the Orioles lineup, becoming the everyday third baseman and playing quite well. In fact, his 1960 season was so good, he finished third in AL MVP voting behind Roger Maris and Mickey Mantle. As in, he was the best player not a New York Yankee. Brooks had a fantastic year in 61, but he started slumping a little bit. But he would spend extra time in spring training in 1964 practicing offense. His defense was fantastic, but his offense not so much. But Brooks did much better in 1964, winning the AL MVP award. And then by 1966, he was fantastic. It also helped that Frank Robinson was acquired by the Orioles from Cincy. So the Orioles won the AL pennant and got to the World Series against the Dodgers, who were supposed to be this fantastic pitching team. Unfortunately, though, LA somehow botched it, and the Orioles swept their way to the World Series. It was just huge and all of that. Brooks Robinson had a few good key games in 1969, despite the fact the Orioles lost the World Series to the Mets. By 1970, though, Brooks would do a lot better with his bat, especially in the ALCS against Minnesota. But the World Series is when things picked up. In Game 1, with a score 3-3 in the 6th, Lee May of the Reds hit a one-hop ball past third base. However, Robinson played behind the base, lunged, backhanded the ball, spun 180 degrees, and made a one-hop toss to first base that actually beat May to the bag. It was one of the best defensive plays in World Series history, still to this day. And also, he got the winning RBI with a home run in the 7th. However, that wasn't the only key plays. He had a few key stand-up plays for the rest of the series as Baltimore won in 5 games the World Series. He was named World Series MVP award. It was just huge and all that. He would be given a $100,000 contract in 1971, and he earned it, finishing 4th in AL MVP voting and almost got the Orioles to another World Series, but they lost in 7 games. Anyway, Robinson was still around from 1972 to 1977. Some people thought he had seen his better days, but he persisted. He was given a major ceremony before his final game for the Orioles, September 1977. In his 23-year career, he had 2,848 hits, 268 home runs, 1,351 RBIs, and 5 postseason home runs. He led the AL in fielding percentage 11 seasons, setting an American League record. He still holds the fielding percentage record for a third baseman at 971. Most games, 2,870. Putouts, assists, total chances, and double plays. Brooks Robinson was actually the first player in Major League history to play 23 years for just one team. The only player since Carly Yastrzemski. So, it's just huge and all that. Robinson made 18 straight All-Star games. He was a fantastic player and all that. He was a color commentator for Orioles broadcast in the 1980s. His number 5 was retired in April 1978. And in 1983, he was elected to the Hall of Fame on his first try, which was fantastic and all that. He met his future wife in 1959 and married in her hometown of Windsor, Ontario, October 1960. They had 4 children who are still alive today. Brooks Robinson was diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2008, but because it was discovered early, treatments